Hello and welcome to From Dreams to Reality, the Business Tale podcast interview series. I'm your host, Jerry Covella, and today I am joined by the amazing Mike Battistella, President and CTO of Solutions Cubed LLC, located in Wyckoff, New Jersey. Mike, welcome, my friend, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jerry. You said amazing, and I started thinking, well, what the heck? Now what do I do with that? Thank you so much. I appreciate being here, and I know we've had a little bit of a journey to get here, so I'm glad today is happening.
Yeah, amazing because I've already heard the depth of your story and you're truly doing amazing stuff. So I'm fairly accurate with that description.
Thank you.
So let's kick off the conversation. How about you tell us a little bit more about you and your business?
All right. So, Mike Battistella, as you mentioned, President CTO of Solutions Cubed. We launched the company in 2003. Really started out focused in what today is called ITOM, IT Operations Management. So that would be the management of a client's network system, database application. IT Service Management, that's around a client's service desk and all best practices for doing IT. And we have a heavy focus in cybersecurity, and that, cybersecurity is so broad. So what do I mean by cybersecurity? We have resources that would focus in as analysts, as threat hunters, incident responders, cyber engineers, that kind of thing. But a couple of real key areas that we focus in on is training and governance, risk management, and compliance. So when I think about training, I always see three layers with training. You have your awareness training. That's what everybody should take. They need to get that awareness of not only what the threat is out there, but just best practices, things I shouldn't do. I shouldn't click on a link that I don't know or expect. I should have a strong password, all that. But then there's the digital risk side of awareness, making sure they understand what's really going on in our world and whatnot. The second layer of training that we're involved in is really the skills training. That's your cyber muscle. You're really taking your resources and building that expertise. The key area that we're involved in, the third layer of training, is more the business side of cybersecurity. So getting into governance, how are we governing how we're doing cyber, risk management, compliance, how are we adhering to the compliance requirements? And that's an area that a lot of folks don't get involved in. So we're really taking our training and our cyber muscle and focusing in that compliance, governance, and risk management area.
Okay, Mike, thank you so much for that. As you can tell, cutting edge stuff by Mike and his team. What I like to do, again, is the focus of the podcast is always on that entrepreneurial journey. So I want to kind of go back to the start here. What inspired you at the very beginning? And let's talk about that point where you said, you know what, we're going to do this.
That's a great question because my career started as an electrical engineer in an aerospace company, and I'm doing digital design, and I'm a technologist. I really like to get my hands in technology, and had an opportunity after 5 years there to go to Hewlett Packard and spent 10 years at Hewlett Packard. 7 of those years I was in the Ed Center. So I was writing and teaching courses all around operating systems and electrical engineering packages and network and system management packages, all the things that I mentioned that we do. I actually wrote a number of courses for HP and some other vendors as well. So I love to be in the classroom, and I love the idea of educating people and helping them level up their careers and whatnot. So there was always that passion there. And then I went out into the field. I wanted to go out in the field for 1 year. And the reason I did is because I was always doing, I was doing the training, but I was doing consulting projects, a week here, a couple weeks there. So you weren't teaching every week, but you would go out and do consulting. So I bring that expertise or that experience into the classroom, makes for a better student experience. But I wanted that one big project. I wanted to go out in the field for a year at HP, do that one big project so I could bring it into the classroom and be a better instructor. Well, I ended up leading one of HP's largest projects. Actually, it was by a factor of 10, largest project they had ever done around the HP software. And I led that project. And I really got a sense of what it is to, be in a global scenario, leading a large project. And so you're learning the leadership side of technology as well as being a practitioner. On that project, I was using a subcontractor, and it was one of HP's local resellers around here. And they were effectively a hardware reselling company. They had a small consulting practice. And the president asked me to come aboard and build him a practice around the HP software. So for this local New Jersey company, I spent 8 years as the director of enterprise management, growing a national program and getting involved in all aspects, not only the HP products, but other products. And, in the role that I was in, I was doing business development. I was managing partner relationships. I was doing consulting. I was still writing courses and doing training. You get the idea. I was, doing all these different things that an entrepreneur would need to know. And so that's where I started getting the bug, right? Because I was a technologist through and through, but I started to get into the business side of operations, running a consulting company. So when I did leave there, and I was actually leaving because they were so focused on hardware that we kind of missed the consulting side of it, and we weren't really focused on growing the consulting and training side. We were focused on selling more hardware. So made a decision to leave, and my wife had started the company a little bit before that, and we were starting a family, and she was a technologist as well, a trainer as well. And she wanted to have that job where she could drop the kids off at school, be the working mom, pick the kids up, and be the stay-at-home mom. And so she started the company and was doing that on the side. And we thought, 3 to 5 years, maybe I'll join her or whatever. She was enjoying it so much, and I was getting the bug, but she was getting so busy that now all of a sudden I'm getting busy. And right about October of that year, it was 2003. I said, "Hun, I feel like I'm working two jobs." And she effectively said, "Yes, you are, and it's time for you to make the move." So so I actually resigned my position in December of that year and joined January 2004.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
husband and
so
wife operation.
yeah, it's a
Wow.
husband-wife operation. We worked at HP together. We worked at our previous job together. She was a software developer. I was an electrical engineer. We actually had, so this is kind of fun story. We actually had one project. It was for the Harpoon missile. And I developed a circuit board that tested the guidance system of that missile. She wrote the software that controlled the test board that tested the missile. So we were in the lab together, and of course she's a very cute little brunette, and but we didn't tell anybody we were dating or anything like that. So guys would come over, hey, check her out, and I said, I bet I can get her out to lunch. So I'd bet him $5. So that's where we met, and everything started there.
Oh gosh, what a great story, right?
Yeah, it's a
Um,
fun story.
and I did use the word amazing, right? That I'm amazed when you start talking about the things that you have done in the past. It's like, hey, Mike, you had me at hello.
Thank you, Jerry.
Great stuff. So I want to continue to go down this path. How about some of the early challenges that you may have faced, and how did you overcome them?
Well, the truth is that in the early days, we had great success. So at that time, I was a lead architect on a big multi-year project for the Army War College out in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And that's really where we got our federal start. So we do spend a lot of time in the federal area. So when I did leave my one company, I was actually the lead architect for that project. And the employer at the time, my employer at the time, I kind of told him I'm going to resign, and all the reasons why, and I did present him with a proposal to continue on this project, and he effectively said no way, no how. And he actually said to me, if it was anybody but you, I would do that, but he saw that as too much competition, or whatever the reason was. And I say that, and if he hears us in the iPod, he knows I love him, and we're still business partners and that kind of thing. So what ended up happening is the colonel that was running the war college, the IT for the war college, he basically made a call and said this project moves forward, and Mike is on it. So I literally transitioned on a Friday from one person signing my paycheck to Monday, just a different role, different paycheck kind of thing. So stayed on that project and did very well, and then that led to another one, and that led to another one. The real challenges that we did have came later. So we were doing a big project for a three-letter agency. We had actually helped the prime contractor win that contract three times. So we were brought in at the tail end of the contract, so we had to recompete it. So we helped them win it. But then during the Obama administration, they changed that contract over to a small business contract, and we were with a large prime. So now we had to transition over to a small prime and win it again. And then after about 3 or 4 months, that prime got fired. So they moved us over to another one. We had to win it again. So we actually, that contract we had to win 3 times. So we were the only consistent gem. They said we were the gem of the contract. We were like with 3 different prime contractors. So all's going well, except every time you have to win it again, you're not necessarily billing either, right? And bringing revenue into the organization. So that was a challenge. And then so we had a 5-year contract with this 3-letter agency. And that was when sequestration hit back in the mid-teens, when they did a 10% cut across the board. Imagine that contract we found out on Tuesday that that contract ended on Thursday. So literally, it was like no time to adjust, and it was a fixed price project. So there was money to be exchanged, and basically the government said, deliverables not met, and so we can't pay. We're not going to pay. Jerry, I'm not the brightest guy, but here's the way I look at it. If you're not getting paid because of performance, I get that. But a week before, 10 days before, all 7 of my resources got awards for the quality of delivery, the timeliness of delivery. So there was, I'll call it internal politics and whatnot. So we struggled with that because it was in the hundreds of thousands, not in the tens of thousands. So as a small business, you really get impacted by that. In the same time, right around that same time, we're specialists in the HP software. HP sold off their software division to Micro Focus, and that was 4 years of chaos. 2 years leading up to it, 2 years after. So all of a sudden, that was a great deal of our business that was gone. We were also dealing with the continuing budget resolutions. Remember that during the Obama administration, every
Yes,
three
sir.
months we have a budget, we don't have a budget. So here's how the conversation goes. I say to you, hey, Jerry, these budget continuing budget resolutions, they're killing us. And you say, yeah, I wish Congress would get their act together. Could you pass the mustard? So a lot of people
Yeah.
don't understand, for a small business or a federal contractor, when there's no budget, you stop working. So all of a sudden you've got a number of resources that are on the bench. And in the consulting world, when you're talking about high level, highly paid people, and they're your inventory and they're sitting on the bench, you're not bringing in money, that has a real impact on the business. So that impacted us for quite a while, but it also caused us to make some decisions, make some pivots. And that was about that time we really started pivoting over to cybersecurity, and that has opened up so many doors that I look back at it and say, yeah, those were rough years. But if we didn't go through that, we never would have made some of the decisions we made and the pivot that we made that brings us to where we are today.
Yeah, and that really resonates with me, Mike. I mean, a lot of businesses, they do run into challenges. And unfortunately, some of them just don't pivot, kind of wait and see, and hopefully things will turn around. And sometimes they don't. And unfortunately, those businesses don't survive. But just the fact that you were involved in those challenges and you said, we need to strategize a way out of this, and you did. And the benefits of that you're seeing today, right? So you're a much
Yeah,
stronger company, broader
absolutely.
company than you were before. A great lesson for the people viewing. We're going to face challenges, folks.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. If you are courageous enough and wise enough and seek the opportunities that are still there, you can survive those challenges. So, Mike, thank you for that part of your story. I want to change a bit here and move more into team. So building a successful business, obviously you need good people around you. What are your thoughts on team building and finding the right people to work with? And that's an interesting question because you obviously have your wife. So you've got one great person that you're working with. So let's talk about team building a little.
Yeah. Well, we could go on quite a while on that. You don't always hire the right people at the right time. Or sometimes you have the right people, but they're not in the right seat on the bus. So we made our share of mistakes, and certain folks that we brought on board, and a lot of times, especially on the sales side, to be honest with you, they're gonna rock your world. I'm gonna sell. We're gonna grow this company, and then 18 months go by, and we haven't sold anything yet, and you're thinking, what am I paying for again? But I think the biggest thing is having folks that they understand the vision, they see the vision, they trust the leader, And to be very transparent, I've had a number of leaders that you kind of have to grab them by the shoulders and point them. Can you see what I see? Look over here. Can you see what I see? And sometimes they don't. And they're doing a function, they're doing a job, and so you're getting a deliverable. You're getting what you need. You're not getting what you want. And I think if I had to do some things over, I would focus on what I want, not on what I need. So I can honestly say, and this is relatively new. I have brought on two significant leaders that they see the vision, and I don't feel like I'm trying to get them over. You feel like you're kind of dragging them over the goal line, or you've started at your own goal line and you're just getting to the 15 or the 20-yard line, and it's a lot of struggle. But I'll tell you, in hindsight, getting leaders that are enthusiastic about where the company's heading, that are wanting to be a part of a journey that's exciting. And sometimes you have leaders on board that they just don't see the vision, they see the task. They don't see the vision, they see what you're lacking, not what you have. And so that has actually been probably our greatest challenge. And what I've seen with the leadership team that we now have, there's enthusiasm, there's momentum, there's all of these things that, to be quite transparent with you, I have been wanting for if I said a decade, I wouldn't be exaggerating. So I think a lot of organizations, they see a slot that has to be filled. They see somebody who has that capability to fill that slot, but you got to be selective on the not do they have the skill for the position, but do they have the passion for the position? And that I think is a big key for growing a good leadership team.
Yeah, and that's such an important aspect of it. And thank you for it being so clear about that. A lot of times when we're involved in the business, we see a spot that's open and say, yeah, we need a certain skill here.
Mm.
And remember, your business is unique, and this is what I see a lot.
Yeah,
You're out running your business, and you say, I need someone who can make these widgets, and you hire someone that may have made a widget somewhere, but it
yeah,
may not be your widget.
yeah,
So now
exactly.
you're running into some conflict trying to convince that person to maybe
Hmm.
change a routine that they had held for decades. So
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. And the word passion really is important, right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
people have to be passionate about what they're doing.
And if I may, let me add to it too, because I really talked about the leadership team, but we also have a team of professionals that they're consultants, they're out there delivering, and you really want people that are highly skilled, but they'll represent you well.
Hmm.
So for instance, one contract that we've been involved in for probably over 10 years now, again with the three-letter agency. We kind of we helped them win that contract, so we were part of the original capture team. And then, once you're on that team, you have opportunity not only to provide your expertise, but also grow your business, right? So these kinds of contracts, it's like, okay, I might be in for, this key area. Maybe it's the service desk or maybe it's cyber. But when they're looking for 650 people, you have all sorts of, project managers and scrum masters and software developers and Windows administrators and all that. So it gives you an opportunity to be able to play in those different areas. Okay, so we're known for IT operations management, IT service management, cyber, but yet on this project we have test engineers, we have scrum masters, we have Linux administrators. And so it's seeing the opportunity where you can expand and grow the areas of expertise. And there it's important, the skill set is critically important, right? Because that's the staffing managers, they're looking at a job description and a resume. Oftentimes that's all they have. They're making a decision on an individual of how they appear on paper. And so you're looking for that individual that has the skill sets, but also there's a good cultural fit, and they're passionate about the company, and they want the company to do well. And so with our resources, we're often encouraging them to represent themselves well because it represents the company well. And when you start to get the prime contractor, sending you emails and notifications of these resources excelling at what they're doing, that's getting us great credibility. And what happened there was we got added to another contract, same prime for the same client. So our cost of sales, our level of effort to get added to that contract was zero. We were invited to be added to that contract. Now we have another contract. As a matter of fact, just yesterday we were meeting with them down in Virginia, and they're they're very happy with what we're doing, and they're saying, look, we have a number of other cyber contracts coming up that we want you to be a part of. That allows you to grow your business, and it really has to do with relationships that you've built, trust that you've built, and confidence that they know you're going to provide, good expertise for what the contract has. So that has opened up a lot of opportunities for us. And let's come back home. Let's come back to New Jersey. When you're talking to a client and they say, where have you done this before? And you can rattle off three, four, five, three-letter agencies, or DOD, or what we're doing with the Air Force or whatnot. And we're not 100% federal. We have state and local customers, we have commercial customers, but there's a lot of credibility there. And on the commercial side, probably about 7 years ago now, I made the pivot. So I spent most of my career has been in the enterprise. So the really big companies, the Goldman Sachs and Merck, and really big name companies. But after a while, I realized that they lost something. They lost the importance of the relationship. So your enterprise vendors are beating you up because you don't sell enough of their product. The customer's procurement people, they beat you up for, one or two more points. They've lost that idea of value add, right? And so we made the pivot over into more of the mid-market, where relationship, for the most part, it's still important. They value the expertise that you're bringing, because a lot of times, the enterprise customers, they get all the enterprise attention. I'm not a marketing person, but if I were, I would say, bringing the enterprise expertise into the SMB, the small, medium-sized business. And I think that's been a good move for us as well, because I feel like we've really got this expertise that many small businesses aren't exposed to.
Great. I'm going to switch gears again on you a little here, and the focus will be on a topic that we spend a lot of time with the business people we work with, and that's work-life balance. And you're in a unique situation. So, how do you maintain work-life balance as a business owner? And do you have any personal rituals or habits that keep you motivated and focused?
How do I handle work-life balance? That's probably a better question for my wife. At one point, we were having one conversation, and they said, somebody asked me, are you a workaholic? Because I am tied into two businesses, right? We've got the Solutions Cube, but I'm also playing a strategic role for the DVMS Institute, which is really a lot of cyber training, and kind of that business side of cyber training I was talking about. And I could spend a whole podcast just with those, on those guys, which is incredible. So I put in a lot of hours. I put in a lot of hours. Fortunately, my kids are married, so they're not kind of watching everything I'm doing, I guess. But I don't I don't know that I have good work-life balance, but my wife can deal with that because she knows I love what I do. So she looks at it and says, "Well, yeah, he's working a lot of hours, but he loves what he's doing. So what would I rather have him do? Sitting on the couch and watching TV and being unhappy, or I know he's happy, and so it really hasn't been too much of an issue, to be honest with you. I know
Mhm.
with my own people that work for us, I don't expect them to put in the kind of hours we do. But the interesting thing is, I mentioned these two new leaders that I have. They're getting up early, they're working late, not because they have to. Matter of fact, I'm like, come on, shut it down, it's your weekend. Don't. They're so excited about what we're doing that they're having fun doing it. So, work-life balance isn't always about how many hours did you put in and how many hours did you not put in, but it's how many hours are you enjoying what you're doing, or how many hours are you disliking what you're doing. I think that's an important aspect too. One of the things that did not come up, I don't think, in our initial conversations is I am a blues harmonica player. So I do have opportunity to go out and play, and I would say that's my stress reliever. If I can go out and play, that's one of the couple or three times that I'm not thinking about work all the time. So I think it's having those, having important family times, being there for the important things with your family, having those hobbies that bring you joy and relaxation, and getting out periodically and just getting away from the desk because we are a home-based business, right? So I never leave the office, but having those things that get you away and just enjoying the people that you're with.
Well, now that you've disclosed the music interest, we'll have to schedule another interview just to hear you play the harmonica, my friend. So,
You know,
but we'll keep it strictly on the entrepreneurial topic
be
today.
very careful how you encourage a harmonica player. I got to tell you
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah. We're going to go for it, I'm sure. So the next question I have, a lot of entrepreneurs, they mention mentors or sources of inspiration that they may have had that influence them to engage in this entrepreneurial journey. How about you? Is there anyone that you can say inspired you to make this move?
When I was in college, I was part of a co-op program during my engineering schooling, and I had some good co-ops, different job experiences, and all that. But one of them, in particular, it was a medical organization. They created pumps that they would wrap around different appendages and it would squeeze and whatnot. And it would help the blood flow. And so anyway, that was actually my first design that I did. And the vice president was there every day in a suit, three-piece suit. And every day he would spend the morning part of his day, kind of in the office doing office work, and then he would show up in the lab, with his jacket off, vest on, sleeves rolled up, and he was on the bench. And I admired that so much that here was an executive. He could have sat in his office all day long, but he was right there with the engineers and the guys doing the hands-on work. And I always felt like I wanted to be that guy, and I've always been a practitioner. So even today in the role I'm in, we're out doing an assessment. I'm there, it might be some service desk work that we're doing. So I don't do as much of it, but I'm still a very hands-on kind of guy. So that was it. And then I would say that my older brother was really successful in the financial services industry and as a leader within a number of different organizations. And so he was always my business coach for a long time. And really, when I had I'm this technologist that's trying to run a business, right? So if I had issues, concerns, or questions, I typically would go to him. And I would say those are probably my two inspirational actors.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great to hear. The last question I have for you today, my friend. What advice would you offer to aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey or facing challenges in their own businesses?
There's a there's a scripture that says, if you're gonna build a building, measure the cost because you don't want to get the building half built and then you run out of money and then you're embarrassed because you only have half a building. I think I just paraphrased that. But I would say for entrepreneurs, there's a lot of work involved in your own business. There's long hours. If you're successful, you reap the rewards of that success, and if you're not, you deal with the consequences. So I would say, weigh it out seriously if this is what you want to do. And so if it's an area that you're starting a business that you're not passionate about, you probably don't want to, have your life, totally around that thing that you're not passionate about. So make sure you're passionate about it and surround yourself with good people that see the vision that can help you get there. The other thing is relationships are key. To start a business, try to do it on your own, and you don't have good business relationships, you got to establish them. One of the things that I was doing, I really built the business originally on partnerships. So I had this expertise. I was doing a lot of training for Hewlett Packard at the time. I was going around to different cities and training a lot of the HP partners and building those relationships. So what was happening is they were calling me and say, "Look, we just sold a bunch of the software." I got this one call from a partner in Florida, and he says, "Mike, we just sold $100,000 worth of the HP software. Can you get on a call with the customer so we can figure out what we're going to do with it, you know? And I'm like, dang, how come I didn't get that deal, you know? But if you establish good relationships and good partners and you build it on trust, right? They'll bring you in, they'll help you. And I always, I value the partnerships that I have because I have some great partnerships. They will bring me into things because they need the help. I can bring them in because I need the help. Or we've got some of them we're going after pursuits together. Leverage the relationships that you have and really focus on them first. How can you help them? Because they'll come back and help you as well. I think relationships are key when it comes to entrepreneurs because the entrepreneur can't do it all themselves. So they've got to have those partnerships where they can leverage each other and be successful.
Right. So just to capsulize, make sure you're passionate about what you want to do. If you're not passionate, step away. And
Mm,
the next thing is make sure you build those partnerships that are a win-win situation for both, right?
yep.
A great story to tell today, my friend. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to chat about your business. It was certainly great meeting you and learning more about what is truly unique business and your personal journey. So the most important question I have, how can folks get in touch with you and learn much, much more about your business and some of the great projects that you are involved in?
Thank you, Jerry. First and foremost, we do a lot of posting on LinkedIn. So connect with me, Mike Battistella, on LinkedIn. We have a Solutions Cubed LinkedIn page. So we're doing a lot of posting there. So that would be, one area. Another one, our website, www.solutions, the number 3llc.com. Reach out to me by mail, Mike at solutions3llc.com. And I would be happy to talk to any of your listeners and help them along their journey as well.
That would be great. Again, Mike Battistella, thank you so much for joining us today. To everyone watching, this is Jerry Covella, and this has been From Dreams to Reality, a Business Tale podcast. I look forward to seeing everyone during our next episode. Mike, thank you again. You have a great day.
Thank you, Jerry.